Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to 2025, first of our podcasts for this year. Hope everybody's had a lovely time and raring to go into the new year. Equally, hope everybody's had a lovely festive break, managed to get some downtime, and enjoy spending time with your loved ones and all of the festivities that sit around that. Sunil, anything to add just for the audience?
I'm afraid the change freezes in IT are over now, and it's back to catch up.
Back to reality, as some would say.
Right.
Yep, change freezes are over, although the weather where I am presently at time of recording is iced over. It is cold. But let's not dwell on that too much. Let's talk a little bit about what we've got planned. What fresh things have we got lined up for 2025 in terms of Xcession and, more importantly, some might argue, the podcast?
I like that, Dan. You've got a nice little plug in there already.
Yep. Already getting the wordplay on the go. So, speaking of all things fresh, we have got a few things coming up this year in the early part of the year with Freshworks. Surprise, surprise. We're going to be speaking to Chad Hofterson, more specifically around the Freshworks strategy, what they want to do for Freshservice in the coming year and perhaps beyond. Additionally to that, we're going to be speaking with Device 42. So those of you may know, keeping an eye on the news here, Device 42 recently acquired by Freshworks. And we want to just uncover a little bit with them about the capability and what other key functionalities they're going to be bringing to the Freshservice suite of solutions, and why we think this is a market-making acquisition. Similarly, on a Freshworks vein, Xcession, the folks from here are going to be attending Spark a little later this year, and we're going to be doing a live podcast in conjunction with, you'll never guess, Freshworks themselves. And just to talk about a different vendor partner of ours, just for a change, we're going to be speaking with Jim Hishawa. I'm sure I pronounced that incorrectly, from Zurant. And we're going to be looking ahead to the way Zurant are doing things differently this year. And for those of you who are fans of the show, you'll know we spoke with Scott Hutchins a little while back. Little birdie told me that we might look to invite him to come back and speak with us and give us an update around all of the AI things that are happening in the Zurant world.
Yeah, so lots with Fresh.
Lots coming up, and sorry to cut across you, Sunil, but just had a real brain surge there for a second. So that's some of the podcast activity we've got happening this year. We also have some other things coming up, but we'll talk a bit about those a little later on.
So lots of stuff with Fresh there. So for our listeners, you might notice that this is a bit of an uptick in terms of the engagement. I think what's interesting and relevant to organizations that are either already using Freshworks and more specifically Freshservice products, or those that are considering using Freshservice, that the organization, the Freshworks organization, has taken a much more channel-focused approach for 2025. So kudos to them. They have been very proactive in terms of reaching out to Xcession and other partners to really try and develop partner capability so that they can win more customers, but B, that they can deliver a better quality of service to those customers as well. And we think that's great. We've been Freshworks partners for a long time, but we think that change of tack is great. And so, we are right behind it, aren't we, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. Really, really good to see that sort of mindset change there. They're having been to their offices a couple of times late last year. They're really enthused about that. There's a huge drive there. And, I think they recognize that only good things can come of that. Broadening out that partner capability and the partner network, it means great things for customers, because at that point in time where they might need to look at extending the capability or need onward support that they can't quite get elsewhere, there's going to be a larger ecosystem for them to dip into. So, good news, really positive.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing, just to touch on Zurant, you mentioned Zurant, is that, of course, Zurant was for me, but that rebrand happened, I think, whatever it is.
Q3, wasn't it?
Yeah, was it Q2, right? So
Q2, Q3 last year, yep.
Yeah, ago. So, and I think that, it's taken a while, right, for the market to shift its thinking, right? It's now Zorant, not for me. But actually, one of the things that I think is really interesting, and Jim will talk to us about, is that actually they're trying to do things differently in the ITSM world. And, we want to explore, obviously, what that means for organizations who are themselves trying to do something differently in this space. So looking forward to talking to Jim and as we said, possibly Scott as well. Customers, Dan, is another area that we try and bring into the podcast. So maybe I can just return the favor to you and talk to you a little bit about some of the customers that we are lining up to come and talk to us. So last year, and one of our most popular episodes was when we spoke to Stuart Salt and Anka Otet from Transputech. So Transputech, to remind our listeners, is a managed service provider, UK, London-based. When we spoke to them last year, they had been through the process of looking for a new IT service management tool set and had done quite an incredibly practical and thorough job in terms of reviewing what was available and what would suit their organization best. So they made the decision to move ahead with Servicely. I think we can announce that as they have bought it at the beginning, I think it was, of September last year, and they have been going through a process of implementation. So in early February, we are having Stuart and Anka join us again, and they're going to tell us really how that transition has gone, what benefits they as an organization are accruing from that move to Servicely, but also really to tell us about the journey, what they've learned and what other people can learn from that. So that one I think is going to be really, really good, really interesting. And a small footnote on Servicely, they're not a partner of Xcession, but they are, again, another new entrant into the marketplace and trying to do things differently, particularly with the use of generative AI. So we'll talk to them. We are going to talk to one of our longest standing customers. So Luminor Bank, and Dan, I know that you know these guys extremely well. Victor Petterman, who runs their service management capability at a senior level, is going to join us and be really one of the first people in a new series that we are running around leadership in IT, and particularly ITSM, ESM. So Victor is going to come and join us. And we are hoping that we will be joined by a gentleman called Stuart Seymour, who works for Virgin Media O2. He runs their cybersecurity function. And again, we're hoping that he will join us to talk to us about his view on leadership in an organization like VMO2, right? And there's, I'm sure, an awful lot that we can all learn from Stuart. So some really, hopefully, really great customer stuff is going to be coming our way as well.
Yeah, I mean, that you mentioned the leadership series. We're reaching out to other customers and individuals in the ITSM service management space. If you, our listener base, know of anybody you think would be, interesting to have on the show, or you yourselves might like to contribute to that, please do get in touch with either Sunil or I. You can find us very easy on LinkedIn, and if you're here at the podcast, I'm sure you're aware of our presence over there as well. But yeah, do reach out, drop us a DM, as the kids say. Another series we're planning this year is where we want to look at the kind of back to basics, if you will, around service management. So individual processes within ITIL aligned. And again, we're going to be looking to bring in experts across those different areas to talk to us about things like incident management, change management, asset management. The list goes on. And really give a bit of a high level talk about how you can avoid, if you're new to the scene, how you can kind of avoid any kind of gotchas and things to look out for and things to be mindful of. So, another one of our popular episodes where we spoke with Tim Mills from ITSM People. We're looking to bring experts such as Tim back onto the show and talk a bit more specifically around those ITIL areas. And, for those of you who are long-term subscribers, whatever you want to call it, we are also going to be, we mentioned Device 42 a little earlier. So the team from Xcession, not sure who yet, but are going to be joining the Device 42 podcast and talking with them around our expertise around all things service management as well. So basically, in a nutshell, there's lots of content coming down the stream. So, hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, absolutely.
Smash the subscribe button, I think is what the parlance is, isn't it? Smash that like button. Yeah, maybe.
Is it? Yeah. But don't break your keyboard. And if you do by any chance, then don't send us the invoice. So we are also, just for the benefit of our listeners, doing quite a lot of work within Xcession itself. So, we don't often talk a lot about Xcession, but a few things to watch out for on the horizon. We are have just kicked off a project to launch a new Xcession website, which will launch towards the back end of Q1 this year, so sort of March time. That's very exciting for us because it gives us an opportunity really to tell people about not just what we've been doing, right, what we can do for our customers, but how we're going to deal with the changing landscape. Everyone will be talking about AI this year, even more probably than last year, right? 100%. So how can we use technologies like that to help our customers and and navigate through what is quite a complex roadmap really over the next 2 to 3 years. We will, of course, be working as hard, if not harder, to make sure that our customers get a great service and continue to really see the benefit of the expertise we bring. And one of the things that probably people who know us well will see over the next year is that we're really going to focus on the key vendor relationships that we have been building up over the last few years. So that is ServiceNow, Freshworks, Xurant, and BMC. So, watch this space for us bringing you more information about the capabilities that those vendors are releasing and, how they are themselves trying to change the market. We've made a decision to be very focused in that area. We think we have a great representative technology set to bring to existing and potential customers. We think we can address through those partnerships the majority of ITSM, ESM use cases. So, confident to work really closely with those guys and, help them help our customers. So yeah, there's a ton happening, Dan, and it's going to be a really really interesting and exciting first few months of the year.
I personally am really looking forward to 2025. I think there's some great things coming down the track. You and I, we've got this great set of content planned out, but just to all the listeners out there, as always, if you've got any ideas or if there's specific topics and things that you'd like to hear us discuss, bring in, industry experts to talk about those particular themes, please do just drop a comment, let us know, get in touch. And indeed, if there's anything around your service management needs that you'd like to pick our brains on, equally, just reach out. We'd love to chat to you.
Indeed.
This is a short and sweet podcast, folks, but there'll be more coming. We're going to be releasing on every 2 weeks throughout the year. So stay tuned. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, now, Dan, you've got to get the snow shovel out and clear your driveway, haven't you?
Yep. Hopefully the grit is going to come up and down the road later and clear it of ice. So, yeah. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm in the Northeast Midlands, and we've had a bit of a snow dump over early January here, and fingers crossed it'll clear soon. Whereas Sunil down in the, was it Tropic of Capricorn, wherever you are in Croydon, very different. Get the SPF 50 out, right?
Balmy down here.
Yeah.
Very good. Right, Dan, until the next episode.
Indeed. Catch you all soon. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.